Hi, Carrie. Hold on. I gotta change a couple things. Display network. All right. Just me and you, Carrie. Just me and you in here. Yeah, what else can I put up? Let me put something else up. Let me share screen. Lucas is here. You guys are piling in. What can I share screen? I want to share. I wonder if I can share this. Ooh. I'll just share this. You guys getting a little exclusive look at something here. I'm going to see. I'm going to test something out. If I disappear from the screen, it's my fault. I'm going to try. Does that work? It does work. Look at that. All right. So this is a part of a pitch deck that we're working on. This is this is just a part that does not disclose too much. It's just making the case. You guys can read that if you want. I'm not going to read. I'm just showing. I'm giving you a glimpse when you pitch things to people. You want to have your visual aids. it's always been that way since elementary school on up. You need your visual aids, and so this is an excerpt, an exclusive excerpt for you guys to see. This pitch deck is a short version. This is one of the pages in it. And here, let's go like this. Let's do this. There. See more of me. All right, teams piled in here. I don't want to be redundant, so I don't want to repeat things that I've said. Well, let's do it. Let's do it from today in reverse, right? So tonight, I've got this is just set up a meeting with a guy that I've met already. I won't give the names. Not, this guy's name isn't important, but I think it's a Zoom call. He lives out of state, lives in another state. He's not Armenian, but he is famous in Armenia. So, every culture have their what would you call it? Their like intelligentsia or their celebrity class, right? Every culture have a celebrity class, and I don't know that class is necessarily the right word, but the elites. But I don't not really elite. Elite has a negative connotation, and so I don't mean this in a negative sense. There's just a celebrity class, those who are known, whether it's entertainers or politicians or people who've achieved things of notoriety, right? Every culture has that, and we think the United States of America and Hollywood is the dominant culture. So most people, you get what I'm saying, that, you tune into the news or the gossip or whatever, and you see what those famous people are doing, right? It's just a pursuit that human beings have, this curiosity and what these other people that some deem as great. Like Jesus, for example, was a celebrity, right? Jesus was like, his star rose quickly, as they say. He became a sensation, right? If you put it in those terms, he captured the attention of the masses, and when you do that, you also gather a contingent of haters, right? So that's what we see in the scripture. It was the haters that only made Jesus more famous, right? The haters literally propelled Jesus into superstardom by killing him. It's like, oh, and then his grand finale, right? The killing him, and then it's like, all right, Jesus, like, I knew this was going to happen. Jesus actually forced the issue. Let me just go on that tangent for a minute. rather than updating right now. Jesus forced the issue. Jesus knew it was going to happen all along. When Jesus knew Pentecost was coming again and all the people would be gathered, right? Every year there's Pentecost, the week-long celebration, and he knew it was his time. He knew this is the Pentecost where I'm going to really, really go straight at the Pharisees, at the Sadducees, at the elites. I'm going to go straight into my Father's house, which they claim is their house, and I am going to rearrange some furniture, and I am going to eject some people who shouldn't be in my house. Right? It's my house. I have the right to throw these money changers out. That's what Jesus. But he had no illusion that everybody's go, oh, sorry, Jesus, sorry, we're sorry, you're right, Jesus, sorry, we'll get out of here, sorry. And the Pharisees are go, oh, Jesus, sorry, you're right, they are we have made the temple a den of thieves, sorry, you're right, that scripture you're pointing out, it's correct. He had no illusion that he was going to go in there and people were going to suddenly see it his way and get it. No, he went in there fully knowing he's doing what's right. It's this righteous indignation, and he knew it would lead to his arrest and kill and execution. He understood. He understood it would be at night. He understood that he would be murdered illegally. That's what the crucifixion of Jesus Christ was. The conviction and crucifixion was an illegal murder by the state, and our redemption had to come that way. Right? It had to come that way. It had to be an unjust killing, because every other killing, God kills the rest of us justly, right? We sin and therefore die, right? The wages of sin is death, right? So that's a just killing. But it had to be an unjust killing to pay for our guilt. That's just the way it's been arranged. So that Jesus used, quote unquote, used his celebrity status. It's funny to talk about it like that. All right, that's all a tangent. Now, tonight I'm meeting with a guy. I've met him before. We've chatted before. He lives out of state, and he's been reaching out to me wanting to reconnect. And so tonight we're going to talk. This is a guy who's been famous in Armenia, a non-Armenian, and he's been famous for singing and composing music and for performing with some renowned Armenian musicians and artists. And so he's had his cycle of fame in the Armenian community globally and in Armenia itself. And when we spoke last time, that's kind of the epiphany that I had. It's like, oh, okay, this guy has gone through what I am right about to go through. Right? He's gone through the fame of being an Odar, a non-Armenian who is an Armenophile. That's I think the technical term. Armenophile are those who fall in love with Armenia, right? Armenophile, they fall in love with all things Armenia, and that's me. I am an Armenophile, 1,000,000%. I am in love with all things Armenia, obviously all things godly about Armenia. I self-describe as a seer of Armenia, that I can see Armenia even the way Armenians can't necessarily see Armenia. I think there are some that see it, but so I'm gonna be hanging out with this guy or chatting with him, and I'm gonna be pitching some ideas to him. I don't know if pitching is the right word. I have plans that if the other things that are going on, like the potential investor that I met with yesterday, and if those things are proceeding the way it looks like they're proceeding, then my notoriety will be like his. So I'm going to pick his brain about, what he went through, and I'm going to share with him some of the ideas I have to parlay this rise in notoriety, that my star will rise in Armenia, parlay that into some of the strategic planning that I've been processing for. I've known this the whole time. I've suspected this the whole time, from discovering this story, realizing what the story is, developing the story the way it's supposed to be developed, and it's resonating with everyone when I tell them. Here's what I mean. When I tell potential investors or influential Armenians or anybody that understands this story or this process, when I tell them, I am not making up a story, I am not Thank you, Jacqueline. Yeah, I'm gonna put that up. I'll get to this comment. I want to say, I am not going in and saying, "Hey, this is my thing. This is what I want to do." I'm saying Soghomon Tehlirian wrote his own memoir, which means there's a volume, right? There's a whole bunch of words that were written by this hero, right? And when you have a volume, it has what's called a voice, right? There's a voice, there's a tone, there's a delivery. Soghomon Tehlirian sat down from his heart and mind and poured out his perspective on what he went through. That's his voice. So I'm not coming in with my voice to tell Soghomon's story. I'm coming in to point to Soghomon's voice and tell everybody that's how Soghomon's story should be told. That's the simple, long and short of it, right? So I'm coming in, and that's my pitch. That's foundational. That's my commitment to his family. Soghomon Tehlirian's legacy is Soghomon Tehlirian's voice. So Soghomon Tehlirian, and so as a result, I'm going to be seen as the guy who finally brought Soghomon's voice out. So I amplified Soghomon's voice. I enhanced. I brought the enhancement to Soghomon's telling of his own story. Because up until I came along, up until I encountered the story, Soghomon's voice was only written down in the Armenian language, right? I was going to grab it. It's over here. Here it is. Shouldn't be touching this with my hands. I should not be holding this with gloves. But Soghomon's voice, up until I came along, this was it, right? This is the only way you could hear Soghomon's voice. Learn the Armenian language, find a copy of this rare book, and then read it. Both of those things are these huge hurdles, right? Learning the Armenian language, that is a difficult. It's one of the most difficult languages on the planet. And then finding this book to hear his story. So I'm the guy who's converting it to a way that the world will be able to grasp it and hear it in the English language. I want to do it in the original languages as well. But so, yes, excellent. I'm the amplifier, right? Giving volume to his voice, exactly, and volume and reach. Let me address this comment real quick. So Armenia as a nation has prevailed. We see God at work everywhere. Here's the remarkable truth. It may not sound that remarkable, but the fact of it is something that I'm going to be emphasizing as I go on my speaking tours, etc. The first Christian nation, right? The first example, the example that God chose, right? This isn't something that just happened randomly. God is providential. Jesus said, "Make disciples of all nations." He said that to his disciples. Go make disciples of all nations, not in a desperate attempt to get them to preach. He said, go make disciples of all nations, because that's what's going to happen. It's an inevitability. It's my plan. It's my desire and my plan. So go get started, right? Go get started, which means Jesus picked Armenia. Jesus Christ picked Armenia before the foundations of the earth, right? Just as you were chosen by him before the foundations of the earth, Armenia being the first example of a Christian nation was his plan from before the foundations of the earth. People say, well, why isn't that articulated in the Bible? It's like, give me a break. So here's the fact that's remarkable to me that will be a part of what I share when I make my rounds. The first Christian nation still exists. Still, like, people think, oh, that's ancient history, way back when, right? Israel was destroyed in 70 AD, and it took hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years for them to be reestablished. But the first Christian nation has always existed, still exists. It's 1/10 the size Now it's 1/10 the size that it has been in the past, and my map back here shows that. It's currently 1/10. It's 1/10 the size it was 110 years ago. 110 years ago, it was in the Ottoman Empire, but if you did a census to outline Armenia, it would have been huge, 10 times the size it is now. But that fact that the first Christian nation that's in the middle of three major Muslim nations, Turkey, Azerbaijan, and Iran, the fact that the first Christian nation landlocked between those Muslim nations still exists is miraculous. It's miraculous. The first Christian nation still has geographic territory. All right. So you guys got me going on tangents. That's all this is. This is all tangent. All right. So I'm meeting with that guy tonight. I'm going to become famous in Armenia. I'm already kind of making my rounds, but I haven't done anything yet that Armenians that's been public. But that's about to happen if the investment is about to come, which I suspect it is. If in January, I got to tell you something. All right, I'm going to tell you something. I'm not going to disclose a name, but I'm going to share something with you in a sec. So if the investment's about to come, it seems like in January, we're going to be planning the public relations campaign. And so we'll do press releases on occasion. We'll release things incrementally. We'll have a plan. And some of those things, at some point, one of the things that we're going to, put out to the public is going to draw some attention. It'll be incremental, but something's going to happen at some point when all eyes are going to be on me in a way. And I have some plans, and I'm thinking, of sequentially how to do it, etc. And all eyes are going to be on, you guys know this, I've been talking about this. So that's why meeting with the guy tonight, you know what, I'll tell you his name. You guys can look him up. Daniel Decker. Let's see if I have the right spelling. Yeah, Daniel, normal spelling, Daniel, Decker, Decker. And he is in Arizona, and he is a composer and a singer. And EU, what are you saying? Did Michael hair and beard on? I think. So meet with him, tell him some of my plans, and he's super connected as well. So I've got a bunch of things I want to run by him, some ideas. I think he's going to be kind of in my inner circle of advisors and collaborators and friends. Oh, there's this one idea that I have. All right, I'll tell you guys. You guys are my inner circle. I can tell you some of this stuff. One of the things I hesitate to share this because I know this goes out there and it's out there forever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This isn't going to affect anything. Love your hair and beard. It's kind of most. Thank you. Actually, I'm like, my wife looks at me and she's like, again, I look in the mirror and I go, man, this is looking better and better. EU, it's okay. It's okay because this is how the world's going to first see me. As I'm talking, right? An event's going to happen that makes me, incrementally more famous among Armenians, and so this will be the first way that most Armenians discover me. This long-haired, hippie-looking, Jesus-looking, Moses-looking guy, and I'm going to love every minute of it. All right, so very healthy. Thank you. Actually, I feel. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, the hair's coming in. The hair looks healthy, which means I must be healthy, right? And that I can grow hair. It is definitely thinner up here than it's ever been. But this all makes up for it, right? All right. Here's the big announcement. I think this thing. So as we plan the rollout of the publicity campaign, there's a thing that's going to happen. I'm going to write a song. I'm not going to give any more details of that. I'm going to write a song. And that song is going to become very popular among Armenians. And so that will be one of those moments. Ideally, it'll be an earworm, right? It'll be a song that gets in the ear and has refrains that will be repeatable. I'm not going to, again, not going to give any more detail that. And this guy that I'm meeting with tonight is a musician. So I'm going to propose this to him. Actually, it just occurred to me. There's some other famous, go in that direction. But the song, when the song comes out, so that's it. There's other things I'm going to do. Which direction do I go? I have so many directions I want to go. All right, let me back up and tell you something that happened in the meeting yesterday. So I had a meeting with a couple of, there's one main contact, and this is a meet I met with. It was one main contact and then two other guys that I had met with before months ago, maybe even 6 months ago. And they were very receptive. And two of these guys are connected to money, and one of them is connected to media, Armenian specifically. So it's this. So I met with these guys several months ago, gave them a copy of the book, and they're very happy. The one money guy is like, first time I met him in person, he gave me a hug. After we had been on a Zoom call for an hour, the next day I met him and he gave me a hug because of what I'm doing. And he reaffirmed that yesterday. And so yesterday's meeting, I set it up a couple weeks ago saying, hey, I need to update you guys. Things are moving. Basque. You're Basque? EU, you're Basque? What? Okay, so sorry, this is a tangent. I'm glad this. I won't forget what I'm about to say, but I have to go on this tangent. You should get a DNA test because Basques are Armenian. So Armenia, being around for 1,700 years, they're all over the world. There are Armenians in Britain that have been there for centuries, like over 1,000 years. There are Armenian colonies all over the world. Basque in Spain, my understanding is they're heavily influenced and probably genetically ancient Armenian culture. So you should get a DNA test. That's crazy. Oh, wow. All right. So I set up this update meeting. That's how I pitched it. Because at the time I set up the meeting, I'm like, I don't know what's happening next. I just need to reach out to them and update them. And it was just the one guy that kind of handles the email back and forth. It's a group email. And he's like, I'm available December 10th. So I said, let's do it. December 10th. Not knowing if these other two guys were even going to be in the meeting. I said, is everybody going to be there? Like, I don't know. But at least meeting with him to update him. I show up in the meeting and they're all there. So all three of them. And that was the first really good sign that these guys are interested in the update, right? That's all I said. Here's the update. And I think they were very pleasantly surprised at the update. So this is a good meeting yesterday. Very pleasantly surprised with the report, things that I'm saying. And I sent them this, the pitch deck sample that's on screen here. Sent them that last night as well. So not just, I was going to say in Hollywood, but in even in business, there are factors. There's like chicken and egg. There's this chicken and egg dynamic. It's like that is really okay. Hi, Mom. No worries. You didn't miss anything. Now go back and listen. I think you'll enjoy my rambling of the previous 25 minutes. But in business, in Hollywood, when you're talking about investors, it's a chicken and the egg scenario. The investors want to invest in something that is that they can have confidence in, that is low risk, right? I love you, Mom. Oh. All right. So meeting with these guys, they want to, and they're representing all investors, right? Any investor, Armenian investors in particular, the lower the risk, the quicker the money comes, right? It's just it's a factor. When I say chicken and egg, like they see this project like, whoa, this is really exciting. This is the right thing to invest in. However, I'm a nobody, right? I'm a nobody. I don't have a $100 million film credit on my resume. Like I don't have an A-list recognizable name in Hollywood, right? That's what and so, but I have my wish list of those, and that's when you go to pitch, three questions are asked. Standard. When you go to pitch to whether it's a production company or whether it's an investor, somebody in the know, a mover and a shaker, and you're sitting in front of a mover and a shaker in Hollywood, three questions are asked. Who's directing? Who's writing? Who's starring? That's it. In any order, right? Who's starring in it? That's probably the first question usually. Who's the actor? Who's the A-list actor that's going to draw all the eyes, right? Who's directing and who's writing, right? And sometimes they only ask the first two questions, acting and directing. So, my first answer, who's acting, who's starring in it? Luke Skywalker, right? No, not Mark Hamill. Sorry, not Mark Hamill. I'd say Luke. I didn't say this to them, but this is a story where the story is the star. Star Writer Studios. Good to see you as well. This is a story where the story is the star. It's about a young man. He's 18 years old, pretty much 17 when his story starts. There's no A-list Armenian star, right? If I say name the most famous Armenian actor, none of you have a name in your mind. None of you have a name. There's no name that pops into your head. The most famous star who's also Armenian, right? Let me give you the name. It's Eric Bogosian, right? And he would like play Gandalf at this point. He's an older guy, right? He's the most successful, famous star who's an Armenian. But so when I tell them we're not looking for an A-list actor to play Soghomon Tehlirian, the role of Soghomon Tehlirian is going to create a brand new star, right? That actor will be famous because of the role. That's why I say Luke Skywalker. Nobody knew who Mark Hamill was. Nobody knew who Mark Hamill was, and he was cast as Luke Skywalker. And now everybody, right? That's the first thing I say to them. But then they ask director, writer, right? So I've got those names, not telling them to you, but I in the meeting yesterday, when I was going through the pitch, like, here's what I'm wanting to do. Here's what I need to do now. Here's the guy I want to do X. I'm not even going to tell you which of those roles, right? Here's the guy I think is a shoe-in. Put me in a room with him, and I'm prepping. I've had a pitch for this person for about 6.5 years, literally from the beginning. I'm like, that's the guy who has to do this one role. That's the guy. That's the only person who can do. Let's say he's my first choice, right? My first writer of refusal, that guy. And so in the conversation, they asked, do you have any connections to that guy? Do you have any contacts? I'm like, I got a couple people that say they know people that know him. And I know a guy who made a movie with him and etc. So I have a few I'm going to start reaching out to. And our conversation in this meeting goes on. And then the main money guy in my meeting yesterday. Amen, Mom. That's exactly what's going on. Exactly what's going on. It's I think it's multiple billionaires, but let's just say it only takes one. So the money guy later on in the conversation, he goes, I got a really good friend who's really close with the name that I named. I'm like, okay, set it up. But before that meeting, I have some needs. I need X amount of money to create these three items that will demonstrate to that guy, we know what we're doing, we're serious, we're ready. And he said, okay. So looks like within the next short span of time, I'm going to be meeting with my first choice for this one role, who's the guy who's going to secure the deal. Because the money guy goes, my dad will be on board if that guy's on board. And then it's done. You guys got the exclusive here first. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.